we want for ourselves self-confidence. We want for ourselves to feel in a place of like, this is really who I am and I'm comfortable here. Beyond that, even, we want to be able to set a foundation and an atmosphere and raise our children, whether they're yours or you influence or have influence on your nieces and nephews, you're in a classroom of children. We want to see them really embrace who they are as individuals. So, how do we do that? When I was a little girl, before I went to school, I was in a very country, in the mountains, surrounded by animals, and so I was comfortable there. And I look back and I go, "Wow, hindsight's 2020," because I was connecting to a space, nature, animals. I was connecting to things that were embracing who I was as an individual, highly empathic. And that was okay there. It was just, that's okay. When I got into school, I started hitting the walls of overwhelm. One, when people spoke to me, I didn't entirely understand the sounds because I did have an auditory processing disorder and I'm dyslexic. So when I would look at the letters and work with symbols, they would move all over the page, disappear. Words would appear and disappear. I would see them as one word, but they were another, all those things. So the confusion and then feeling all that I felt while I was in that room, more confusion because I didn't understand where I started and where I ended. Where was my space and where were others' spaces and their emotion and what they were carrying with them? I didn't know if that was mine or theirs. I just didn't know what I didn't know. We didn't talk about it. No guilt, no shame on anybody. It just wasn't being talked about. It wasn't understood. So that type of confusion, when you're not excelling and you don't know why in school, and you're being and feeling because who you are, who I was as an intuitive, as a highly empathic person, it creates a form of chaos. And that chaos is trauma. And trauma causes us to find ways to stay alive and navigate this world that's making zero sense. And we don't know why. So peace and connectedness was when I started connecting to who I really am as that intuitive, as that gifted person. I saw, and so much of the pain came from what was perceived as failure. I mean, I kept failing and failing and failing at school with no reason why. So understanding why that was happening was step one. Well, my brain works differently. It's not broke. A lot of people think that dyslexia means you're broke, that there's a neurological something going on, so therefore you're wrong. You're seeing things incorrectly. No, it's not that at all. It's a perceptual gift. And the more I realized the truth of that, then I could heal because I had understanding. Though this is why I just see things through a perceptual talent. In my mind, I see things differently. And when I understand that, then symbols are no longer an issue for me. When I started understanding that I could feel things that weren't mine, and I could find where my boundary was, and that, oh, that's somebody else's. Then I could heal the chaos that through understanding that this was happening to me and those feelings weren't mine. I can let that go. This chaos wasn't mine. Those simple aha moments started the journey of healing and connecting who I am. And that peace comes and confidence comes when we know we're in our authenticity. Authenticity simply means this is who I am, all the parts of me, and I'm understanding how it works. When you understand how something works, then it's easier to be confident. Just basic, right? When we understand how to drive a car, we can drive confidently. If you don't have that understanding on how the car works, where's the brake, where's the gas, how's the steering wheel, you're not driving confidently and probably shouldn't be on the road. So confidence is pretty simple. It comes when we really understand who we are and how we work. And there's a lot of pieces that will separate, that separated me and that are separating you from who you are, the most authentic self. And a lot of it is just simply understanding who you are. Many of you have layers. Like I had layers of understanding, as do you. Like I was a horse trainer. I knew when I was born, I just knew I was a horse trainer. If you'd asked me, what are you going to be? I would have said, well, I am a horse trainer. There was so much confidence there because I knew that part of myself well. So we can know parts of ourselves really well, and that's great. So hang on to that. We don't throw that away. It's just expanding that fuller understanding of who we are and what we're capable of. A lot of, as we work on personal growth and we do a lot of mindset and looking for limiting beliefs, those are excellent things to do, and techniques that help us, mantras that help us build new neural pathways of confidence and so on. The thing that doesn't get down to, though, is it doesn't shift the emotion, the energy from the experiences. When I was a little child and I'm in school and I'm seriously traumatized daily, to the point where it gave me anxiety as an adult. I would walk into a young adult, I'd walk into a school, and at hindsight, I didn't realize what this was at the time, but I literally broke out into a sweat and just started tremoring. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I would just try to mask and, oh, this isn't happening to me, coping skill. But now when I look at it, it's like, no, I was literally having an anxiety attack from the trauma that was still not healed, had not shifted. And if you're resonating with this, we should talk, because there's some really cool ways, simple ways that we can get down to the emotion that was created in those moments of trauma, and we can shift those. We don't have to forget, because we can't. It's there. Whatever your situation was, my scenario was, it's there. But what we get to do is we get to shift the trauma emotion into a new frequency. So emotion is frequency. A lot of science behind that. You can Google and see the frequency of guilt, shame, fear. And then you can look at the frequency of what love, joy, peace, kindness, what the frequencies are. And we can shift those. Einstein says, we don't create any new energy, but we can shift it from one form to another. So there's great techniques and easy to follow that do shift that energy. And once we shift, whatever was formed there, fear, guilt, shame, maybe all of them, into a self-love energy, then our perspectives change. What we see about ourselves can open up, because those emotions that were created during the experience actually shut us down, right? They shut that down because that's what's causing the pain, and we got to get rid of the pain. Through the lens of the child, that makes sense. And for a time, that's what we needed to do. So I don't judge my little self as you. There's nothing gained in judging yourself at that moment. You did what you needed to do. But now you're ready to say, okay, I want to expand into and really get into myself. I want to have the confidence and that next level self-confidence. So it's these pieces, these layers of trauma and past experiences that we can shift through shifting the emotion in the experience. You shift the emotion, all of a sudden limiting beliefs are way easier to shift because we're no longer trying to talk ourselves into something. It's real. Okay, it's shifted. The energy, the emotion is energy. It's self-created energy, and it's energy. So if we don't shift that, we can work on our brain, work on our thoughts, work on our thoughts, work on our thoughts, and slowly that trickles down into the emotion space. Or we can shift the emotion and it just quickly bops up into our thinking space. And we're like, okay, the belief is actually, I am able to. What would be yours? Mine was, I am able to work with written word and be successful. I am able to speak to people and hear people. So what are yours? Those would have been two of the big ones that came out of it. Was my learning differences challenge would have created a lot of blocks in the space of my capabilities to achieve success. And what are yours? I was talking with a gal she was sharing with me pieces of her story. She's working with me, and she's sharing with me her story, she's really got a heart for connecting to who she is at the most authentic space, to really step into, what am I designed for? I want to make a difference. I'm here for something other than just myself. I'm here to really add value to people and to make a difference. And so we do that when we connect to who we are, because that's where all the gifts are that come through, that are uniquely yours, uniquely mine, that help people at a whole new level. And this gal was sharing with me her story, and she kept hitting this wall, hitting this wall, hitting this wall. And it was and stopping her feet and getting stuck. It's a pattern. And so she went through all the mindset things she'd been trying and working through. And it's like, yeah, now let's get down to the energy that's in this wall, that keeps pushing your button, that keeps stopping your feet. And when that shifted, she literally could see, oh my gosh, yes, she just got a whole new perspective. It's like being in a hot air balloon, and we have, you to raise in a hot air balloon, you let the weights go, and then you go up and you elevate. So she was able as she shifted that energy, that was the why behind the wall even existed in the first place. Then she elevated up, and now she was looking at her scenario, her circumstances, through an entirely different lens. She goes, I just have a different perspective. And it's that different perspective that gives us a new pathway. And that's what we're looking for. So that moving forward confidently, moving into who we are and and I'll just keep using that word, confidence. Is this journey work? Is this seeing, going to the root, going to the emotion, allowing that to shift first? And in that, knowing who we are, and that's how we know who we are, is in that space of shifting where that pain was. Because wherever that pain was, that's where we shut stuff down. When we shut stuff down, then we're no longer really operating as we are in the most authentic space. When that shifts, then we shift into another level of who we are at our most authentic us. And that's just how it is. And that's the journey work forward. It's awesome. I'm excited for you. I'm excited for what you're stepping into and what you're bringing to the earth, because your gifts matter.